Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching that ads. We are into a brand new best of 3, but another PvZ. In the top left, as the blue Zerg, he is Leenock.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, changing colors. He was red last time around. His opponent, who is red this time around, his second Protoss of the day. This is our red Protoss player, Classic. And of course, spawning on Abyssal Reef this time around. Really interesting because you have a narrow choke point, so this can make for longer games. It's pretty easy to both make your expand and defense it. So looks like both players will be going for that early opportunity. But gateway first here for Classic out in front. Nothing like that 2-gate pressure we were seeing in game number 1. So nice to see a little bit of a deviation from that. Should be I would expect to see a slower early game towards a longer mid-game. So I don't know. That's just my expectation. What are your thoughts, Zombie Grub?
Well, you know, I was really expecting Hero to be a lot more aggressive in the last series, and then he really wasn't aggressive very much at all, kind of playing standard with a little bit of shenanigans with the double warp prism. Classic also had his, like, stroke of cheese genius, I suppose, against Terran in particular, but can also be a very aggressive guy. Earlier in SSL, we did see, like not even, like, 12 hours ago. Well, like 12, actually, like perfectly 12 hours ago, right?
Yeah.
We did see him go for a 2-base all-in to close things out. So this guy certainly can put on the pressure, but I'm saying a macro game.
It's actually kind of interesting as a Protoss player nowadays, especially when you watch things that are as scary as watching like Deer's final game and Classic's game as well in SSL. If you guys didn't catch those games yesterday, make sure to go back and watch them. If you want to know how to just straight up bibbity bop your opponent as a Protoss, whether they're Zerg or Terran, both Deer and Classic showcased some really, really cool all-in builds, specifically Classics to close out the day. Like, that just looks so strong. If you don't see it coming, you kind of just die. So the scouting burden is oftentimes on the Zerg player, but in the last series, we got a chance to see what it looked like when the Protoss didn't scout the Zerg, and it just kind of got run over. So going to be different this time, but it is a robo beta start.
Facility. Excuse me.
Facility, that's right. Yeah. If you could get a robo bay right now, that'd be pretty fast. I would be caught off guard by that build. But.
Yeah, I'd be calling hacks right there. This might be scouted though. Oh, you really? Okay. Well, he's not gonna save the Overlord, so I'm surprised he bothered pulling back.
Poor Overlord. Oh no.
He could have been useful at least in death, but instead, very disappointing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
We can't all be those Overlord achievers. Some of us are the overlords that pull back from seeing the useful scouting information and die. But at least they get to have their one final death sound, which in the Tastos' voice pack is actually a recorded extra voice line when the overlord dies.
Really? I haven't gotten that yet. I don't play enough Zerg.
See, that's the thing. I feel like I've heard all the lines for these different voice packs, like especially for Nathanius, but I just don't play all the races equally, so they're probably just like half the lines I just don't hear all the time. Also, I never lose my workers, so you know I never hear those lines either. So.
Yeah, of course. Well, Leenock going for an early Overlord drop. This is not scouted by Classic, who initially had a Stalker running around looking for a scouting Overlord again.
Oh, the probe!
Oh, that's at least some advance notice.
Not much though, and these Zerglings will be running all the way inside of Classic's base. You will be able to quote-unquote push them back with the Mothership Core. But that's just because they see this vulnerable pylon. Now they're going to head back into that mineral line to get more damage done.
Warp Prism successfully deflected on the other side of the map. It didn't have much in it anyway. And unfortunately, I think Classic was really like, you know, deciding, do I use the Warp Prism or don't? Dying decides to use that back in the main base, the Warp Ins, that is. So Warp Prism, not too effective yet. I mean, it's like, you know, the game with Hero and his Warp Prism, it also didn't have to be the most effective thing in the world. Just a little bit of pressure so we could save to get a third base. But, you know, that not doing anything combined with this Ling drop kind of throwing Classic off a little bit.
Right.
It was pretty worth for Leenock.
I really love the value you get from putting on aggression. Just by dropping those Lings in Classic space, Leenock forces the Warp-Ins to not come through the Warp Prism on the other side of the map in his base, but rather forces them to come in Classic space, and therefore keeps all that pressure out, Leenock's done an amazing job pushing back this Warp Prism and any adepts that try to make it across the map. And so he's just chilling right now. Huge rounds of drones and overlords and just full macro mode for Leenock, who unfortunately was supply blocked there momentarily.
Things looking just great for Leenock in these EVPs. I'm wondering who he faces next. Maybe he's just gonna have like a smooth bracket. He's gonna face the winner of Super versus Special, which very well could be another Protoss. Super has been doing okay against Terran lately. Not as great as Hurricane, who seems to have like almost a renaissance about to happen. He did get knocked out eventually by Terrans in the tournament I was casting earlier, but he had like great showings. But similar for Super, I think he actually has a potential to take out Special.
Yeah, Forte too, another guy that signed up for this tournament as well. Often maligned. I don't know where we got the idea that Forte was like super bad. I think he kind of phased out, but also kind of making a comeback as well as Super. So absolutely could make it on in the next round. Although I would favor Major or Special in that matchup. We'll have to see how that series goes. Might get to cast him a little bit later on, but. As far as this game goes, Classic keeping on the pressure now does have, I think, one or two Warp Prisms? Yeah, 2 Warp Prisms across the map. Trying to get this damage done, but really has not been able to really break Leenock yet.
I mean, I love the double Warp Prism style, and I think the initial appearance of this build, I think it might have originally come with the Dark Shrine opener, just more and more twists on what was becoming more and more expected. But obviously now with the Robo opener, just point is double Warp Prism eventually. I think it did so well, like it was just catching so many Zerg off guard. They didn't know how to handle it, plus the main attack, you know, down the middle of the map. But now it's like Zergs have actually gotten a little bit used to it. They're gonna already have their units pre-split. They're not gonna be caught like, you know, so over macroing. And Leenock has been on point in all the games today.
Yeah, when you have 2 Warp Prisms, you got twice as many draw opportunities to get in there and make sure that you will at least eventually be able to find a chink in your opponent's armor. Very difficult to just always keep up with the different positions they can warp in. And now, even warping in a bunch of High Templar here with the Zerglings, I would expect those to be morphed into Archons. Yeah, there they go. So we've got a little bit of harassment here, but that's a sizable chunk of Classic's army when with those rocks getting torn down, there's a bunch of Zerg coming Classic's way.
Yeah, he does not have a lot to defend. And where's that Mothership Core? She's in the natural, and Immortal's blocking the wall. This could be a lot of damage.
Yeah, they're trying to defend the natural. Oh, it's your third base that's vulnerable. Lots of probes going down, and eventually that Nexus will fall. How good is the damage that Classic will be able to return, though? Looks like he is going to be able to get in on top of everything defending this third base for Leenock, but he's not damaging the actual hatcheries or the drones all that much. Okay, finally, some big hits come in and take out those drones, but these Zealots are actually dispatching the Zerg forces very well.
Yeah. I mean, the Zealots, with that charge, actually just can wreck roaches when they're in low numbers, and certainly they were. The Queen not able to help, barely not able to take out that Warp Prism, but there's a second one anyways. So third base goes down for Classic, fourth base goes down for Leenock, and 17 drones, leaving him a little bit down in the economy, but with a big army, 40 army supply lead to try and counter with.
Yeah, and he definitely does have that counter opportunity. I think always as Zerg player, you see a lot of Zergs that think, okay, I need to move out and get damage done. When if you're able to like defend your bases, push out these Warp Prisms, if you can just re-expand and get your macro back up again, it's really hard to face players as other races who are able to keep up with a Zerg that's just powering on the macro style. But there are these 2 Warp Prisms with 4 Archons that can definitely get in here. Even if it's just for scouting information, they can get a lot of damage done. Now, another unit that's capable of dealing a lot of damage, as we saw in their last series, Zombie Grub, Mutalisk out and on the way.
Yeah. Classic does know about the Spire, but he might not have, remembered to deal with it, basically. He got a scout, and then everything kind of went topsy-turvy, so no cannons pre-made in those naturals, main anywhere, I think. Yeah, he's trying to make one now, but there's aren't that many mutas. They definitely can take on a cannon while it's building. There you go. And depower a couple of key structures like that Forge.
Oh,
but Classic,
no.
I mean, he's going to lose all of his probes. He's got one last hurrah of an attack here. A lot of Archons, but there's still a sizable Roach force. And almost nailed it.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of cheese Zombie Grub. Roche Force. So it's pretty good too, by the way. So it looks like it's going to be pretty good here as well. Now, it's a very high Zergling count in this army, but the Ravagers behind will be what's really able to keep these Archons honest. They are the big tank force in the front. front line. Corrosive Biles actually will take out the Warp Prism. Still one more left here with the army, but the Archons are going to get a lot of damage done to every Zerg remaining.
They do eventually lose those shields, though, and it's useless after that. These Muters are still going to town on the other side of the map, too, and that's it. Leenock takes game number 1.
Damn, Leenock coming out with a vengeance here in our very first Ballistix Brawl. Really excited to see good performance from him. I feel like a lot of people in our Zerg hierarchy, right? You got guys like Brawl, who really underperformed in GSL. Guys like Sue, which performed exactly like everyone would expect him to in GSL. And then there's like these 3 or 4 Zerg players that are fighting to get into that Zerg pantheon of gods. And I don't think people would necessarily put Leenock way up there. And then you see online performance, and man, Leenock online is just absolutely insane. So glad to see that being illustrated here.
Yeah, he is playing quite well. I believe the plan, by the way, as continue on casting this tournament, is to cast like both semifinals and then the finals. Again, don't know who the it's not a barcode, right? But it's all L's. I guess we could ask our Asmund, see if she knows what it is too.
That's Solar.
Oh, it is? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So Solar is waiting in the semifinal.
Solar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually lots of good players left. So that's gonna be the Solar versus the winner of Gumiho and Byan, which would have been a cool TVT to watch as well.
Yeah, so lots of potential great games, and I don't know if we're doing like replay packs for this too, but if those do exist, that would be a game that I want to start out with. We're going to be loading into our second game right now. Just want to give another quick shout out to Ballistix Gaming. If you scroll down right below this channel, you'll see that there's a contest that you can enter to win 16 gigabytes of Ballistix DRAM. So make sure to click that. It's a quick little Gleam IO contest entry. You can enter to win that RAM. So definitely go down there, check out the Ballistix RAM giveaway. And you can do that all while we load into our second game of this series.
It's going to be on Proxima Station. This guy's map choice is he's down 0-1. It is the Red Protoss Classic.
Dun, dun, dun. There he is, spawning on the lower side. Up on the upper right-hand side of Proxima Station, in the blue, our Zerg player winning game 1, it's Leenock. You can see that Overlord float in for his 15 seconds of fame. And float away. The life of an Overlord.
Bye-bye.
Simple one.
Yeah, sometimes they get great scouts, sometimes they just go out of vision and never seen again.
Do you remember that, I think it was the StarCraft April Fool's Day, where they announced the Overlord announcer pack? Oh my god, I would actually buy that. That's hilarious.
I don't remember that, actually.
Yeah, it was their April Fool's thing, I think. It's like Overlord announcer pack, and like every single line was just blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I don't remember that at all. That's awesome. Blizzard usually has good April Fools, too.
Big fan of that. If you're a company and you don't, like, meme or have one of these, like, overly social media accounts or play April Fool's jokes on each other, then, well, you're not paying your social media manager enough. So get out there and do that. Big fan.
I remember they, so I used to be, like, I think, like, everyone probably used to play WoW, or at least knew about WoW.
I've never played WoW Zombie Grub.
Well, or you knew about it, though.
Okay, yeah. If you don't know about that, I feel like you're a little bit under a rock.
Yeah. And I think like it was so popular that even its April Fools would get like bleed into the other communities. So I remember one of the April Fools that I was like disappointed wasn't real, just because it was such a. It was cute and funny at the time, and it was before Pandarians were actually introduced into the game. But they were like, you could order, I think like Panda Express with like one click of a button when you're playing World of Warcraft.
Oh my
god! The Pandarians were like the ones that were like, the servers or whatever in the art, and I was like, that's genius. Like that would be so good, man.
Then you move to Korea and you can actually do that.
Yeah.
Well, not within the game, but if you go to PC Bang in Korea, then there's actually an app that runs on the computer that lets you order any food you could possibly want, and they'll bring it to your computer while you're playing. So, pretty insane. The future is now, Zombie Grub.
Yeah, the future is now in Korea.
Well, that is very true. Also, you get to play StarCraft Remastered like 15 days before it's available internationally, so it's a good time to be in the future. We don't have flying cars just yet, so I feel ripped off from every 1980s film I watched, but we're getting there.
Yeah, the 1980s had high hopes. I mean, they weren't necessarily wrong. They really has been quite an advancement of technology, but they're just wrong about the certain things. Like the watches that we can talk to, A+. Cars that can fly, not so important. So we didn't really bother.
I'm actually kind of glad though, because we'd have to wear those like weird egg-shaped Jetsons helmets. Those things kind of cramp my style here. So we're about to watch a Baneling all-in here from Leenock. Just to actually talk about the game for a little bit. We've got Dropper Lords in position and a bunch of Zerglings flooding across the map. And really, there's been no effort from Classic so far this game to really see anything coming his way. So at this point, you kind of deserve getting surprise all-in like this. We'll see how good he can defend, but this is not going to be easy.
Yeah. He just has no idea. He scouted a third base, but it's always a trick, ideally you get a second scout seeing that it's actually saturated, notably it's not. And, this Oracle's gonna come into that natural too late to see that's also undersaturated. Baneling's rolling into the Adepts, the last minute tries to move. Okay, well Warp Gate's gonna be denied. And,
I think this is just... I know it's early, so there's always that possibility that Classic just kind of fell asleep at his keyboard, but he just does not have a lot of units here. I don't think it would take like an hour for this Oracle to have enough energy to kill all the Zerg that's actually out there on the ground. And even though there's nothing that can shoot up, these probes are dropping. Well, I was gonna say like flies, but they're already on the ground, so I guess they will be just taking out 25 dead. And wow, man, when Leenock wants to kill you, you just die.
Yeah, apparently. He saw the Stargate. He knew there wouldn't be a lot on the ground or a lot of helpful things in the air either. Okay, well, that's a missed opportunity for the Banelings. There you go. But he also, not just kills the economy, kills the army, but also stops any potential follow-up by killing that Warp Gate.
Damn.
GG.
Leenock is here to get that money. Holy cow, that is... it's been a while since I've seen a player just get, straight up hard bopped like that. That is no fun. You think about this, you're laying in bed at night, you turn on your classical music, your soft jazz, or maybe no music if you're just one of those people that just wrap up in a cocoon and fall asleep. But no, Classic tonight will be feeling that one.
Yeah. That hurt, but Leenock just looks on fire against Protoss, looks on fire to win first place in this prize. Maybe that's the online SOS effect. If it's over $500, $400 or whatever, he's like, I'm there, I got this. I don't know.
Wow. The online SOS effect.
Yeah, nice. I would love someone to be like that. But you know what? It is going to be another ZVP for Leenock. Super did advance over Special 2-1. I believe that's going to be our first semifinal, as well as Gumiho versus Björn is still going on. So we're going to get back to you as soon as possible, as soon as the lobby's ready, basically. But first, thank you for watching the Ballistix Brawl. And please take a look at the sponsor ads. It is a RAM company, so there's going to give a little bit more details, I guess, as well as have some funny ads as well. So we'll see what you guys think about them. They sometimes are funny, sometimes just simply informational. But here you go. Thanks for watching.